about them and maybe get back to the editing on the other thing later. So that's what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to talk about a few of these fun figures I've had for a long time. So hopefully we're able to see them on screen here, and we'll go from there. All right, so first up, and nobody's in any particular order here, this is just how I got them out of the cabinet. We'll talk about Goatman here. All right, Goatman is one that I got at a local Comic-Con with my wife and daughter, and he is from a storybook, and he is one I'm thinking about for an upcoming scariest action figures video. So he was one of Beastman's henchmen. So I think he's a lot of fun, and his hammer is pretty awesome. I think he can knock any of these guys out with his hammer. I'm going to try something here. Get some better light. So bear with me here. Live. We'll do it live. Maybe we'll get a little better lighting right there. And so anyway, that is Goatman. And he's usually like, he's just one I go to. Like if I'm going to put a display up or something. Just like the looks of him, and I do remember him from the Golden Book storybook. Next up, Merman. I think everybody likes Merman. He came with both heads. He came with the original, and he came with this one, which everybody knew him as. And but this one is the one that you want, because this is what he looked like in you know, all of his TV appearances and everything. And I think he comes with some really cool weapons. And look at that. So I feel like, is it in the 2000X series where like he could take this off and that became his sword? I believe I remember that, and that was a really cool idea for Merman. So and I liked what they did with Merman, Kevin Conroy on the Netflix show. How about Trapjaw? I should have grabbed his other pieces out, but they are in a box. And if I dangle them from here, I think that they're just going to just fall off anyway. I wish they would kind of snap on or something instead of just hanging there on one of these. So he's fun this way. Trapjaw is just an amalgamation of ideas, and he always was. But it's such just it was like a bunch of people got together and they were like, "Hey, what if he's lost his mouth and it had to be replaced with you know, a metal robot mouth? Yeah, let's do that." And you know, hey, what if you could run a piece of string through and he could, you know, his head could go through the string? Yeah, that's a great idea. Hey, what if he had interchangeable parts? What if he had a pirate belt? There's so many ideas here. What if he was all these different colors? I mean, there was a lot of wacky ideas that went into Trapjaw that all these years later still worked with his design, I think. And he's still one that I think even kids today would gravitate towards Trapjaw. How about one of the first ones, King Grayskull? So is he is suffering a lot as far as being an action figure goes. His cape won't stay on. His hair is discoloring quite a bit, the paint apps, and his ankles are very, very weak. So he's kind of like a leaning figure. So as you can even see right there, his ankles are very weak, and it's just, that's how he is. But he's one of the very first ones. He's one of the originals of the line. So yeah, it's one of the things that pulled me in. It was like, hey, remember this? Yeah, maybe I'll get into this collecting thing again. So next up is Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms has all kinds of like little weapons, blasters and things that go here. They're again, they are packed away in a box so that I don't lose them. But he has not faded or anything like that. I like that his mace looks great and can attach on the back just like his other weapons if you need it to. Just got to find the place it goes. I always keep him with the clean shaven look because my first experiences with Masters of the Universe are with the action figures. I'm old enough to the point where action figures and storybooks and pajamas and stuff came first, and then later it was like, oh, are you kidding me? There's a He-Man cartoon coming out? Yeah, I gotta see that. So when Man-at-Arms came on TV with a mustache, it was like, what is going on? But I adapted. Evil Lynn, one of my favorite figures over here. I keep her with the short staff, and I keep her with her knife behind her back because you never know who she's going to mess over with that. She cannot be trusted, can she? I don't think so. Who's she working for? She's working for herself. That's who Evil Lynn's working for. This is one of my favorite figures. I think the face looks just right. And this is actually one of the early Classics figures. So, a lot of these early ones are actually still the best ones. How about Scareglow? Another early one. He is really cool. He glows in the dark, which we're not going to be able to show you here, but look it up on Google if you like. One really cool thing about Scareglow, I actually never had Scareglow, a vintage figure, as a kid. This is my first Scareglow. He was one I always wanted, but he just never showed up under the tree or anything. But one thing about this figure is he comes with this attached to his wrist here. And this, as you can see, has Castle Grayskull on it. And this is Masters of the Universe Classics playing the long game, because they did this, and inside they put a tiny little key, right? Now, inside Castle Grayskull, or on the Castle Grayskull playset that they made a few years later, they put a door that key fits. So that is quite a long game. Next up is Sarad. He does not have a sparking feature, but this is actually the second version of this figure I've had. The first one I traded, and then I was like, oh, I really need to get him back. So I just think he's out of proportion with all the other figures. So let's say I stand him up next to Skeletor, for example. He just looks out of proportion, and that's not the way he looks in, say, the movie or something like that. so it's okay. I do like his blaster. And I always like a blaster that'll go in a holster. That's always fun. And then, so I'll set him here if he will stand. And then up next is Geldor. I've done a video about him before. He is a fun figure. He's really only in the mini comics. So he's looking for, I think, a potion, a life potion. And I think he winds up fighting He-Man. And that's basically his one shot. That's what he does. But he's a fun muscular figure, and he's got a cool axe. And sometimes the accessory makes you think that you need the figure and the expression. You know, this guy, he looks mean. And how many figures with a mohawk do you get? Not many, right? Let's go ahead and talk about this battle damaged Skeletor here. I keep him like that, but unfortunately, it seems like an easy thing, but a lot of the action figures of the vintage figures, they couldn't pull over in classics. So as he should be able to do this little deal where that would twist around, he doesn't. So you just kind of have to pick a plate. I never can understand why certain action figures didn't carry over, but it's fine. That's really one thing that vintage Masters of the Universe is known for, is their action features, and so you're expecting at least some things to work. But then I guess if they make one thing work on a character, then the goose and the gander, right? But other than that, this is a favorite Skeletor. His face is the right color. It seems like his axe. They look like axes. There's a great Evil Lyn in the 2000X series. Great makeup on her face, great look. I like that short hair. There's another head that comes with her where she has her helmet on, but I don't like that as much as this. Her hands are really good, her nails. And then I like her staff. She's got the long staff here. And, you know, but you can see it's just the same body being used. I like the cape. Alright, how about Rio Blast? I've also done a video about Rio Blast. Uh-oh, we're having a tumble. That is still something that carries over. There's supposed to be a blaster here that from the original vintage line where that opens up. And these would open up and have blasters in them too. But then, they look so cheap. This is when the Classics line started cheaping out on paint apps and accessories, and they would throw them in, but they would throw them in and they wouldn't look right, or the paint wouldn't look right. And so sometimes it is just better not to have them. And so I just don't keep them with him. This does carry up. That looks all right. I wish he had kind of like a little visor or something. It'd be fun. I think I liked using Rio Blast so much that maybe it's why I got into Brave Star momentarily when I was a kid. Here's Clawful, Big Lot Special. So, it does snap. Looks like he has some slight discoloration right there, but overall he's carried over. And he has a little thing that snaps back here, but that's packed away. But he is one that wasn't really dramatically changed or upgraded. He kind of just seemed like, oh yeah, we've got to make Clawful. So that's what he looks like to me. One of my favorites here, Count Marzo. This was a Christmas gift from my wife. He is he looks really great. He's a character from the 2000X series, and he's a lot of fun. I like his sword that goes right here. Got a couple more here. Triclops. And Triclops, he's pretty much a straight upgrade from the vintage line. His visor spins around like it should. His sword looks great. You know, I always thought, speaking of these swords, so I'm going to take this off for just a second. I always thought with these swords that this little piece right here was when it was what, 1982, 83, 84, it was like this is a way for like a hand that's open like this to, you can attach it to that hand and it won't fall out. But when they made classics, and obviously the figures could hold things better, they wouldn't make swords that looked silly. But then they carried this over for some reason. And yeah, okay, that's nostalgia, but I think most of us as kids were thinking, I don't want that on there. I want it to look like a sword. I don't know. So it's something that you deal with as a collector, but you're also sitting there scratching your head going, why would you go to the point of all these other upgrades but keep the swords looking silly? I don't know. It's kind of like when I remember being a kid and thinking, I don't want a purple axe. I want my axes to look like axes. I want my axes to look like this, right? I don't want a pink sword. But all the weapons they would always make all the weapons colorful to match the characters. And okay, I get it. It's the 80s and we're, we've got to, they got to sell the toys and whatever. But I remember being 5 years old and hating that was a purple axe. And, that Faker came with a purple sword or whatever it was, and stuff like that. So I especially thought when this line started, oh, okay, everybody's going to have a medieval appropriate colored weapon. And then when they all started coming out with, green staves and or whatever, and the colors again, I just thought it was weird, but I don't know. Just my 2 cents on that. Here's Hero, and here's his blue sword. So I can kind of take that as it's powering up, and so it's blue. But is it blue all the time? I don't know. He was a figure that obviously none of us had back in the day. Mine has the purple stone, in case you were wondering. What does yours have? Very satisfying clicking sound there. And Laser Light He-Man. Thing with him, I've got this rubber band around him because his backpack won't stay on. So here is this. He's kind of like Ghostbusters He-Man, right? But I do like his face. Looks like a good He-Man. It looks almost like a movie He-Man. There you go, He-Man. Move around a little bit so he can get going. So But that is, let's see, 17 Classics figures there. And they're all quite special. I can still remember it being, I can still remember, it's not like it was that long ago or anything, but that feeling of that box coming in the mail. And them showing up after you had tried to get it on there so desperately at 11 Central to order the figure. And sometimes you got it, but sometimes you didn't. And if I don't have one that's particularly awesome, it's most likely because I didn't get it at 11 a.m. I didn't subscribe. I never did subscribe to Matty Collector. And I didn't find it for a decent price on the aftermarket, which there's about 10 of the ones I have. But these are just a few of them today, but I'll be talking about others. But, and then, but anyway, lost my train of thought. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, these are a few of them. I plan on going through more of the collection. And if this worked out, and I had fun. If this worked out though, I'll get some more of these guys out in a bundle all at once like this. And that'll be fun. So anyway, hope you have a good night and enjoy your toys.